Alright guys, welcome to this Django Python tutorial series. With the next couple of videos, I don't know how many videos or how much time it's gonna take, but I want to build a complete personal website. So right now I don't have a personal website, so I just want to build a very basic personal website using this Django framework of Python, this Django web framework for Python. And I just want to build a personal website. So that's my reason for kind of teaching and building kind of my personal website at the same time. So yeah, so we are going to be doing a lot of cool stuff, and this tutorial series is for like beginners. So if you're an advanced like Django guy, I think you can just go away. This is not for you. But anyways, if you're a beginner or you just want to refresh, or you're an intermediate and you just want to get some new concepts on your hand, let's get started. So before even we get started, just open up this djangoproject.com and just get yourself familiar with this website, because we are going to be integrating Django into our lives for a long time, and it's going to be a permanent change in your life. So just go to the website djangoproject.com. So Django is a Python web framework that we are going to be learning. What is a web framework? Let's actually dig into that a little bit. So if you have any idea about web development is usually done with web scripts like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and Bootstrap, which is kind of a framework for responsiveness. So all these things are integrated, all these website programming languages, if you want to call them, they are integrated together, and then they are uploaded on a server where they are hosted, and that's how typically a website is made. So what is the concept of web framework is, there are two things in web framework which a web framework can help you with. The first thing is that you can integrate core programming languages with these web languages like HTML and CSS. So our core programming language is going to be Python, and our web programming language is going to be like HTML, CSS, etc. So we can integrate Python with web development using these web frameworks, and in this case, this web framework is called Django. And the second use of a web framework is that it hides all of the complex stuff inside our web development process. So for example, whenever you open up a website, there is a request that is sent to the server, and then the server sends a response back. All right, it's called a HTTP response. All right, so all this stuff is actually hidden from you, and you're not able to see all that stuff because of this Django web framework, or just web framework in general. It hides all of the complex layers, and you just have to work on a very outer layer. So you won't have to delve into the complexities of making a website. You can just very easily make a perfect website. As you can say, even its title say the web framework for perfectionists with deadlines. So we are perfectionists and we have deadlines. So it is beautiful, it is perfect, as well as you can get your Python web development done really quickly. So this is all about this web framework. Now, two things that you will require before we even get started with coding is Python. Obviously, you need Python. So I'm going to be using Python 3.6. You can download Python 3.7 or any future version of Python. You can even, it just works with Python 3 plus, and even if any future version of Python comes, it's going to be fine. Nothing much is going to change. So I'm just going to be using Python 3.6, but you can download 3.7, 3.8, 3.9, whatever you want, or even Python 4 if it comes by that time, but I don't think it's gonna come that quickly. If you're watching this when Python 4 comes, that means I've done a pretty good job of making this tutorial. Anyways, so this is the Python part that you have to download. Now I'm going to be using a IDE known as PyCharm. So PyCharm kind of looks like this, and there's this area where you can write code and stuff, and it's actually very easy to use. So IDE just is a place where you can write code. You can use Notepad++ if that's what you're into, but I won't recommend. If you are not using PyCharm, I'll highly recommend you use Sublime Text. That's the second recommendation. The first recommendation is PyCharm, and I'm going to be using PyCharm. So if you just want to like follow along really well, you can just download PyCharm from this jetbrains.com PyCharm website. So it has two versions. One is professional version which I am using. I just said version. I don't know why. Sounds like a virgin. Fuck. But a version, not virgin. Anyways, I'll be using this professional version. You can use the community version. It's pretty much the same and it's free. But I'll highly recommend you download the professional version if you are going to be using Python for a long time. It offers a 30-day like free trial and stuff. And if you are a student, you can just probably go to Google and type in PyCharm, if I'm not wrong, PyCharm students, and they just give you the PyCharm for free. All right, so you probably have to give your like student ID card or something. And even if you're using it for 30 days, that's fine. There are a lot of their offers and stuff going on where you can get PyCharm for free. So just search Google if you want it for free, but you also like make sure it's not that expensive, so you can also pay for it. I have paid for it and it has worked really well for me. So anyways, you can just download this professional version for now. It's just 30 days free trial, and it's gonna be long time until that runs out. Or you can also download the community version. Anyways, let's get back to our main thing. If you're not downloading PyCharm and if you're downloading Sublime Text, then things are going to be a little bit different, and I'll try to explain as much as I can as to what's the difference between the two when you're just starting out. There's not going to be a lot of difference when you're actually coding, but when you're creating the project and stuff like that, there's going to be a little bit of a difference. So anyways, let's get started with the PyCharm. So the PyCharm will look like this when you have installed it. I've just created this project, which I'm not going to be using, but I'm just going to go to File, and I'm going to click on New Project. And then I'm going to click on this Django project, and let's click and see what's inside it. So it says, tell me the location. So I'm just going to call it something like personal website. All right, and this looks good. All right, let's check more settings. And this all stuff is good. Enable Django, make sure that the enable Django admin is ticked, and you should be pretty good to go. And now you can just click on create, and this will create your Django project. And as you can notice, I haven't pip installed anything. All right, it's just going to create my virtual environment. I'm just going to go into what virtual environment is in a couple of minutes after some time, but you don't need to pip install Django, all right, whenever you are using PyCharm. So it kind of hides a lot of easy stuff from you, so you won't have to like dig your head into what's going on. But if you're using Sublime Text, you'll have to open up your command prompt. So let's open up our command prompt, and what you'll have to do is you'll have to type something like Python, not Python, and yeah, if you haven't integrated it, make sure that your Python is working in command prompt. And after that, just write pip install Django, and this should install Django into your project. Let me just actually check it on Google once, because I'm not sure for this thing. Pip install Django. Let's see what the code is, how to install Django. You can always go to docs Django project if you have any kind of problem. So yeah, we are going to be using Django 2.1, and even if like in some future there is a like a better version like Django 2.5 or something, it's not going to be that much different. And even if you're using like Django 1.1 and Django not Django 2.1 that I'm using right now, you don't have to worry, because a lot of things are going to be same. So how to install Django? There should be a pip install over here. All right, install pip, and yeah, it's this pip install Django at the shell prompt. So you just have to write this pip install Django, and Django is going to be installed inside your system, and then you can just use Sublime Text and just go from there. All right, so it's still ensuring that Django is installed, is being installed. So we'll just wait for a couple of minutes. It takes a little bit of time. So as you can see, Django has been automatically installed into our project, and Django has, the PyCharm has basically also created our project, and it has given us these weird ass files, which we are going to get into. But as you can see, there is this folder which is called personal website, which is the name of a project that PyCharm has automatically created for us. So if you are using Sublime Text, what you have to do is, instead of after doing pip install Django, what you have to do is you have to write Python, and then you have to write manage.py, and then you have to write start project, and then you have to write the name of the project, that is the personal website in our case, and this will automatically create the project for you. And then you can just copy the project into your this directory folder of Sublime Text, and you can take it from there. And then you're going to be in this state which I am in right now. So let's not focus on these right hand things, which is settings.py and urls.py, which we'll go into actually a little bit of time. But for now, let's focus on this file. It's called manage.py. So let me just close these two, and let's open this manage.py file. So you don't have to change anything in this manage.py file. Make sure you don't mess with it. You don't touch it at any point. So what is this manage.py file exactly? You're going to be learning about its use in a little bit of time, but I just want to give you an overview of what it is. So whenever you have to run your server, or whenever you have to do some kind of functions inside Django, you have to use this file called manage.py. It kind of helps you execute stuff inside Django. So Django has created this manage.py file for you, so you can use all of the capabilities like running a server, migrations, etc. And you probably don't know what migrations are right now, but just it's something. All right, it basically helps you execute functions that are already inside Django. All right, so this is the function of manage.py. Now there is this folder called venv. If you like just open it up, you can see there's a lot of weird stuff inside it. You don't need to worry about this venv folder. It stands for virtual environment. This is not the part of Django. This is actually created by PyCharm every time you create a new project. And this is actually the latest thing. This wasn't in their previous versions, but this is a very useful thing. So what it does is, let's say you have a lot of projects, all right, and one project requires Python 2.7 and one project requires maybe Python 3.5. So you are using two different versions of Python. So how is Python and PyCharm supposed to differentiate between which interpreter you are going to use, whether Python 2.7 or Python 3.5, which interpreter you are going to use for this particular project? So what it does is, whatever the requirements are of this project, it kind of saves in this virtual environment folder and makes sure that this project is isolated from other projects. So whatever changes and whatever things you install inside this project are not going to be affected and not going to affect other projects. So this is kind of the cool thing and of virtual environments. It's going to be coming in like more usefulness as we go forward, but mostly we will not be touching this folder. This template folder actually contains the HTML files and the CSS file that go into creating a website, and this will also contain the media files like the like images and stuff. So all this web programming languages and just the web stuff will go inside this folder called templates. All right, so this folder has been created by the Django. It's called personal website, and there are 4 files inside it. So the first file is init.py. It's empty, just don't delete it. Just Django uses it for personal purposes. You don't have to worry about it. So this second file is actually pretty important. It's called settings.py. So in every project you make, you are going to be actually looking at it a couple of times, not a lot of times, but you're going to be, it's a pretty important file. So what is this settings.py? So this settings.py is basically the settings that are required for a Django project, whether it's already hosted on the server or is it still in production mode. Both kind of things are there inside this settings.py file. So I'm not going to go through this whole file. I'm just going to give you an overview of what each of these files mean, so that you don't get kind of overwhelmed. Although I don't need to introduce these files to you right now, but I'm just going to give you an overview so that you're like, okay, I know what's happening right now. I know what is these weird files over here, right? That's the whole thing. If you don't understand anything, maybe a little bit in these files, it's okay, it's fine. All right, so this settings.py is basically the settings of your Django project. And let's see if there's something important. There is this security key, and make sure when you you can change it if you want to, but let's say you are in production and you are actually hosting the website, make sure nobody knows the secret key. And then this is debug equals to true. So when let's say you have created some website and you have implemented some kind of logic inside the website. Say when you log in, you have created a user authentication, and when you click on login, it kind of throws you an error, but you won't be able to see the error unless it says debug equals to true. So when you are in production mode and you are actually creating this website, it helps when this debug is equals to true. It kind of gives you what kind of error or what exactly are you doing wrong inside your project. All right, we won't go into this allowed hosts and installed apps. All right, let's see if there is something else that is important. I mean, all of these things, don't get me wrong, are really important, but I'm just trying to introduce them later into later into this Django kind of series. All right, so this is the database. So we are going to be using the SQLite 3 database for this course, and you can use another database if you want, just like kind of research on it. You can use MySQL or PostgreSQL. I'm going to be mostly using SQLite 3 because this is a personal website and not a lot of traffic is going to be coming to it. And even so I have a small startup. Let me just show it to you. So it's called unopinion.com. I was working on it like a couple of months ago, and this is like totally based on Django. And this used to get a decent amount of traffic, and still this used to work. Okay. The SQLite 3 database used to work okay. So this is you can check out this website. This is actually created by Django. It all is login, sign up, everything is created using Django. This is actually when I learned Django and how to like work through Django. So you can just like have a look at this website for reference purposes. But anyways, so we are going to be using SQLite 3, and yeah, that's pretty much it for this settings.py. And we are going to get into it more when we are actually going to host our website somewhere on a server, maybe Heroku or something, but we'll discuss that later. So the second file is actually also important. It's called urls.py. So it says in this URL patterns is path admin, and then go to this weird place. So what happens is, let's say you go to you know the place where you type in unopinion. Let's say you type in something like personalwebsite.com/admin. All right, let's say you type it in Google, not Google, just the your URL, and press enter. So what it's gonna do is, let me just actually add it over here. All right, so whenever you go to this website and after this backslash you add kind of stuff in front of it, let's say for example admin is going to go through this URL patterns and it's going to find if a pattern matches. So over here there is this thing called admin after this website. So it says, okay, in my URL patterns I have this path which says if after the backslash, if there is this admin, make sure you go to this admin.site.urls. We won't go into what this is exactly, but just kind of understand it kind of searches for this text in these URL patterns and then does whatever is in the second part of this kind of path function. So let's, for example, let's actually, instead of this, just this first one, let me just kind of paste this over here, and instead of admin, let me just write test. Now there's no URL pattern which says over here that actually let me just add one also over here just to make sure that you understand it. So there's no pattern which says test in this path. So what it's going to do is going to throw you an error. But if we add in path, so if we just copy and paste this over here, make sure there's a tab, and we can just copy this, paste this over here. So now when it goes through these URL patterns, you will see that there's this pattern of test \1. So it can do this thing, just do something. We are going to go into what just do something is exactly, but for right now, just understand when it matches this URL pattern, it's gonna go and execute whatever is in this second parameter. All right, that's it for urls.py. It's kind of a matchmaking kind of a thing. All right, so let's go to this wsgi.py. Now this is also one of the files that you don't have to touch. This is just required by Django for deployment, and this is for just for it's just a kind of a protocol that is used in website hosting. WSGI, if you are curious, you can go to Google. I think it stands for Web Server Gateway Interface. It's kind of a thing you need inside web development when you need to host a web development website basically on a server. So this is one of those things that Django requires. You don't need to mess with it. All right, so let's actually do something cool. So if you go to tools, you'll see there is this run manage.py.task. You can just click on it, or you can press the shortcut, which I'm going to be doing from now on, that is Ctrl Alt plus R. So you can just press Ctrl Alt plus R on your keyboard, and it's going to execute this manage.py file. Actually, it's a little bit different from execution. It's running this kind of file in a different manner. So over here it says manage.py@personal website. If you are using command prompt, let me just actually open up the terminal. So if you are using instead of Sublime Text, if you're using Sublime Text, what you'll have to do is you'll have to write Python manage.py, and then write the commands in front of it. But for the people who are using PyCharm, you can just write the command. You don't have to write python manage.py. And over here, you can just write a run server. So this is actually the command that is used to run a server. So we are just checking whether a Django project is working or not. We can just press enter. Let's press enter. I say tracking file by order folder pattern migration. This is fine. And yeah, so you just need to write, if you're using Sublime, you can just write python manage.py run server. But anyways, let's go back to our thing. And if we, so it says Django version 2.1 using the settings, personal website or settings, starting the development server at this link. All right. And so we can just copy this from here and paste it over here. Let's just paste this over here. And as you can see, it opens up a website which says the install worked correctly. Congratulations. You are seeing this page because debug is equals to true in your settings file. So which basically means in the settings file, if we go up, I told you about it, but just to make sure that you remember, debug is equals true. That's why you are seeing this page. If you change it to false, you won't be able to see it. And so what exactly is this 127.0.1? So this, on every computer, this is the IP address of your own computer. So if you ever want to, this is called a local host. All right, this basically points to your computer. So whenever you want to access your computer, you just type in this IP address, and then there is this colon over here. And then the second thing is basically the port number on which you want to access the website. Don't worry about this too much. If you are into networking and stuff, you can like kind of look what is a port number, what is an IP address. All right, but you don't need to worry about it too much right now. Just know that this is a port number and this is IP number. And whenever we are going to be testing our website, we are going to be running the server by the command of, let me just stop it. By the command of run server, we are going to be running the server and pressing enter. And we are just going to be checking the website. All right, so I just want to show you a couple of things before I end this video. Let me just check how long this video is. 23 minutes, that's crazy. But anyways, before we end this video, let me just show you a couple of more things. So if we go up, it says you have 15 unapplied migrations. We are going to be discussing this migrations into the next video. So I'm not going to be touching this right now, but yeah, I just want to show you one more thing. Basically, if you go to the urls.py over here, you can see this says path admin, and then it says admin.site.urls. So if we go to our website and just put in a backslash and admin and press enter, as you can see, there is this Django administration which opens up, and this is automatically created by Django. We haven't even touched, even haven't coded anything yet in Django. So how cool is that, right? So yeah, in the next video, we are going to be like actually creating this username, the password. We are going to be like just entering this Django administration panel. It's going to be pretty cool. We are going to be learning about migrations. We are going to be learning about this SQLite 3 database, which has been created for us now. But all of this will be done in the next video because this video has already been pretty long. So guys, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe because I'm going to be uploading a lot more of Django 2.1 videos. So that's it. I'll see you in the next one.